At this pivotal time in humanity's evolution, we are beginning to remember our organic technology. A technology, when used correctly, can create an experience that the majority of the people the world over want to live. It is time to use this technology consciously for our own benefit and healing, and no longer unconsciously for our own demise. We are divine creators, creating both our own personal experience and our collective experience moment to moment. We invite you to join us as we reawaken this technology to experiment and experience our power to create and manifest. Become part of the 3%. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Welcome to TCI, the Collective Imagination for this week. And I think we've surpassed our 3%, to be honest. When we set that intent, it seemed like a really big ask and that we were being very, very ambitious. But you guys have absolutely rocked and taken this bigger and better than we could have imagined. And that's kind of what we want to talk about a little bit today as part of the conversation. But before we get onto that, let's bring out Brian Kelly.
Hello, Lisa. Hello, Bob. Hello, Chris. Hello, everyone in the chat room and everyone listening live. Gosh, it's just such a pleasure to be here as usual. And I feel like I don't really have much new to say. I need to start pre-planning my introduction into these shows a little bit better. Maybe be a little wittier, a little funnier, a little fresher. But I like to keep it raw, tell how it is. So just happy to be here. Let's leave it at that. It's going to be a good show, as always. And, yeah, thank you, Lisa.
Happy to have you, as always. And Bob Wright.
Hello, Lisa. Hello, Brian. Hello, everyone. Glad to be here. Welcome to the show. And, you know,
I love the way you say that. Hello, Lisa. In the mornings. It's like a big warm blanket.
Hey, wait, Bob's voice is in music to your ears, too?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Love you, Bob.
And we've got Chris Hales.
Morning, everybody. It's a love fest today. At least Bob didn't turn on the Barry White voice.
Oh, he can do that too.
Yeah.
I can almost do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can almost do that at the moment, but only because I've got a cold.
We're about to get down tonight to some real nitty gritty.
Oh, okay. I'm muting out now.
Oh, she's having a hot flush. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello from down here, down under. Great to be here again. Looking forward to yet another collectively imagined show.
Well,
yeah.
Brian, you could come on and say pretty much anything and get away with it. Frankly, that's your superpower.
I want a different one.
You'll have to imagine one.
The content of today's show, it sort of sprang out of a conversation that Bob and I were having the other day in regards to how, everyone seems to be feeling the effects of a shift, whether they're conscious of it or not, whether they have a context for it or not, and understand what they're going through. As Brian actually said before we went live, that, you know, if you asked an auditorium of people who's feeling change in their lives right now, who feels like they're going through something, chances are every hand in the room would go up. And you'd probably have a different story from each of them. However, there would be a common thread, I think, which would be that they're looking at themselves or they're looking at their lives and those around them a little differently. And there's a change of consciousness that we all seem to be going through at various rates. And what does that do for the life you had planned? And what does that do to the relationships that you're in and the roles that you're playing? You know, whether it's a partner, a spouse, a parent, a child, a sibling, a friend, all of these relationships seem to be going through shifts. And sometimes that can be painful, even when it's perhaps not painful for you because your perspective has changed It may be painful for the other. And that's sort of what we wanted to talk a bit about today, as well as the fact that this community that has sprung up has been attracted to these shows, have become a family in a way that I never envisaged. It's wilder than anything I could have dreamed of. And I knew when we started doing the collective imagination, I knew that I wanted to create a space. And it was a sort of build it and they will come. And you did. And I'm so grateful. But over the last few months, it's exploded in so many ways, not just now we have a show on every day. And the number of people who are coming, and some of you listen to every show. It's extraordinary. And the way you've connected with each other in these chat rooms and on Facebook and in various Skype rooms. And you're all finding each other, and some of you are coming together in density to create these what you believe, and I believe, are soul family groups. Relationships, romantic relationships are forming, and you're there for each other in such a way that just makes my heart sing. And I know there are some of you who are listening were ready to give up 6 months ago, 3 months ago, 2 weeks ago. You'd had enough. But somebody else in this community reached out. And some of you are still here today because of that. And you're not just hanging in there anymore. You're thriving. And I just want to express my gratitude to each and every one of you. Because you are, in some cases, saving each other's lives. You're giving meaning to each other's lives. You're giving each other hope. And, wow. I'm going to mute out because I'm going to give somebody else a minute. Sorry.
Have your moment, Lisa.
It is true, though. I mean, coming to this show every week, talking, and it is it's refreshing, and it's such an amazing, I mean, the energy that we get from all of you guys, it's incredible. It really, really is. And this isn't exactly what we had talked about that we were going to talk about, Lisa.
We'll get there.
But we'll get there. But I was talking with Lisa a couple days ago, day before yesterday, and she asked me, how are you doing? And at the time, myself, I was doing fine, but I had gone through like a whole, I was going to say shitload, but I was thinking of a better word, shitload of emotions. And one of them was, sometimes it's so very, very hard. When you start to embody this new energy, and you literally start to, and I'm not just saying talk the talk, but when you start to walk the walk, and you start to embody it in your life, a lot of times you start to make new choices that will hurt other people. Or sometimes the things that you go through are hurting. It's hard, to go through, life without making connections with people. I mean, it's literally, you've got to work. For me, at least, this is the case. I have to work at not falling in love. There are people that I meet, friends, that I come in contact with that you make connections with. And these connections that you make are real. There is a bond of love that's there. And when you can no longer continue that connection for whatever reason, because of the choices and circumstances, or you're just moving in different directions, it is painful. It's painful to let people go. It's painful sometimes to tell and live your truth. And so we started talking about it, and we decided this is something that we really need to discuss on the show, because I can't be the only one that's feeling this. She can't be the only one that's feeling this. This has got to be something that we're all going through. You know, when you have to tell the other person, you know, some truth that perhaps they don't want to hear, but you need to tell them, right? And many people, you know, they're avoiding awkward conversations. They're avoiding the truth that they've become aware of because they know it's going to cause some sort of discomfort and or pain. How do you deal with that?
You know, for me, because those conversations, you know, I think right now they're coming up more. Not only are they coming up, they're coming up more and more frequently. And you know, they always what's that saying? They say that the macro is always a reflection of the micro, or something along those lines. And you take events, you know, like what happened in the bank yesterday with Kiri and what's going on with her case, which has the ability to affect and touch the lives of essentially everybody on the planet, except the people maybe that live out in the bush, as Chris and Lisa say. We don't say that here in the United States. We don't call it the bush, although it is really funny to hear you guys say it. These, you know, they're reflections of everything that we're experiencing on the inside. So, you know, one thing I think that's probably become a whole heck of a lot easier, especially since everything for me is kind of dials back into our trip into the desert as a big turning point. I know for at least the people that were there, and probably many of the people that were there experiencing it with us that weren't there in physicality. And it's become a lot easier for me to stand in my truth, no matter how I feel the other person, whoever that person might be, might receive it. Because ultimately, you know, one thing that became very clear is you can't blame someone for being honest if it hurts your feelings. You're like, how dare you be honest? Because that hurts my feelings. You know, that just, it's almost funny to say because it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So all that anybody can do is have the courage to stand in whatever your truth is, whether that's in a relationship, conversation that has to do with a relationship, or a conversation with a friend, or what have you. Because before, I used to get real tied up in, I don't really know how this is going to be received, and you know, I hope that I'm not misunderstood. You know, I think I've surrendered to a lot of that because I only know what I'm feeling and what's in my heart. And when you know in your heart that you're a good person, you have good intentions, then speaking your truth all of a sudden just becomes a natural part of the process. And when you do it, when you can do it, and you can have, I love heart-to-heart communications where it doesn't get really, you know, neither side really gets wrapped up in it emotionally. It's just like, here's how I'm feeling, tell me how you're feeling. Neither is ever right or wrong. That's so huge to understand, is neither are ever right nor wrong. And a lot of the time, what will happen is, you know, one person might go away feeling sad, upset, you know, betrayed, whatever it might be, and then a day later they come back and they've already totally gotten over it. And now they're dealing with the reality of whatever it is that was shared with them. So I'm probably speaking, when I'm talking, I know there's probably a lot of people out there that are feeling the exact same way, because we've mentioned it on other shows before, we're entering into a time, we're already in it. God, we're not entering into anything anymore. Where truth just can't be suppressed. And relationships, the whole universe is in a state of constant flux. Everything is changing. Everything is changing always. I used to look at brick buildings and say, what do you mean? Look at that building right there. It's not changing. Yeah, fast forward a million years and look at that building and tell me it's not changing. It's just the pace to which things are changing. And considering the pace with most things is changing so fast, it's either adapt and let go of the riverbank and sail with it and live, as they say, in the flow, or fight, kicking and screaming to keep things designed in a way that you are in your maximum amount of comfort. Because I think that when we were talking before about how this conversation came up, that sometimes this stuff's very uncomfortable. Let it be. That's cool. Let it be. Because ultimately, when you're in those situations, I think that I think to me, when somebody is uncomfortable, they have an opportunity for extreme growth when you're uncomfortable. Because that's what it's ultimately going to lead to.
Yeah, Brian, I mean, since we got back from Morocco, there's not been anybody that I've come into contact with who hasn't looked at me sideways with that, what's going on with you, look, or flat out said to me, you've changed. And when I've had the opportunity to have a conversation and I express my new perspective, I've seen pain. And it's either because I'm reflecting something for them that they don't want to look at, or because the idea they have of me that they were comfortable with has changed. They put me in a box, and now I don't fit that box, and now they don't know what to do with me.
Yeah,
or they're frightened.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry?
Yep. Go ahead. You're probably going to say the last one.
Well, or they're frightened of losing me in the way that they perceived they needed me. And whenever I've seen that look or even seen the tears or seen the pain, I'm smiling. And I look like the coldest bitch around. And
you're getting that too, huh?
Yeah, and because in that moment, I'm seeing them expand through their discomfort and through their pain. And that is bringing me joy. And even though I'm feeling for them and I'm feeling a compassion for how uncomfortable it all is and the pain they're in, the joy that I'm feeling from their expansion is so much greater. And
Lisa, can I just say that is a wonderful expression of the sacred neutral that I'm really starting to identify with, because what you're doing is if you didn't have that perspective, you would be caught up in their grief with nothing to balance it out.
I actually can't go there.
Yeah, well, what I'm feeling though is the joy that you're feeling at seeing them expand, and the grief keeping you in this balanced position where you can maintain the perspective, where you can even see what's going on around you. I don't know if I'm explaining myself brilliantly here, but I had this pointed out to me a short time ago, that when you're observing something that gives you great grief, you have to understand you're watching a moment of immense growth, and you should feel joy, an element of joy, as well as the grief. Then you're really experiencing what it is to be alive right at that point. And it's not easy.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Brian, did I touch on what you wanted to say or not?
Yeah. I would even say as a sub-element to that last one is that the other person, if there's some kind of a grief or adverse reaction, even if it's a situation where there's not some kind of a breakup or some kind of a relationship that's going to be coming to an end in physicality, the grief might be because how they see whatever it is that you're going through, how it's going to affect their life. Now they know that whatever it was that you had between you, or whatever it is that's changing for you, there's going to be some kind of effect that they're going to have to also absorb, and that makes people uncomfortable. And that's that's the thing. It's things can get really comfortable. I say when things start getting too comfortable, shake it up on your own. try to figure out a way to shake it up, because it's really easy, I think, in a lot of situations in life where you get into that space where where you almost can sense that it needs to be changed. Whoa, I'm way too comfortable in this whatever this might be for you, and it's probably different for everybody. I made a comment on my blog post that my fiance Brittany, I had to really kind of explain it on that journey from the Sahara write-up that I did, and I said that at one point I said uncertainty is bliss, and if looked at through look at it through any lens, and you could say, well, what does that mean for a future, or for a vision, for whatever it might be. It's just it might be something that's misperceived or taken the wrong way. But when I said that, I truly meant it, but I meant it in the way that I have no attachments to any particular outcome if the universe wants it to be a different way. And when it's not that I'm just wandering around the streets saying, I wonder what's going to happen to me today, it's more of I am open to the infinite possibilities that the universe has in store with me, and I'm not going to limit myself by trying to contain however it is that I want it to look. And for me, that means uncertainty. And to me, that is bliss. To know that whatever comes my way, this is why I love the show, our Wednesday show with Judy. And hey, Judy, I see you in the chat room. The Enjoy show is because I've gotten to the point where I can find joy in the things that I do in my life that I would have never been able to find joy in before. Sweeping the floors, doing the dishes, because joy is just a state of being. And when you say that it doesn't matter, when you tell the universe it doesn't matter what is thrown my way, I'm going to spin it and have fun with it, then what happens ultimately when you do that is the universe does you all sorts of awesome. Because you're not creating any major adversity, and sure, it'll still come if there's karmic debt or things that you need to work out, but you're not putting any fear or doubt or worry energy out there, so you don't get dealt. This is my experience since we got back from Africa. You don't really get dealt a whole hand of bologna every day to deal with, because you're enjoying all of it as you go.
Well, Bri, I got a sink full of joy waiting for you. Just come over and knock yourself out.
Oh man, I'll be there.
But you know what? It's not always our choices that are painful. Sometimes it's other people's choices, because you see them going down a road that is going to cause them pain, and you've got to watch them, because sometimes it's the path that they need to take. And it's painful sometimes to watch, someone that you love going down a path that you know.
Oh, sometimes you're standing there, you're watching a train wreck in action.
Yeah, you're watching a train wreck in action, and
you can't do anything about it.
There's nothing you can do about it.
Yep. This goes back to the same conversation of, don't rob people of their experience of whatever adversity they've attracted into their life to try to take on, their burden, because it's not yours to take, and shame on you if you try to take it, because that's their experience that they've designed, and it's all, to me, it's it really is, it's kind of boiled down to everything being perception. Look at what happened with Kiri, for example, yesterday in court. She went up there. They handcuffed her. Albeit it was really hard for them to do so. They dislocated her thumb. They took her into jail. They stripped her down naked. That would be terrifying for a lot of people. I even got some Facebook messages like, "Oh my God, this is Wonder Woman. Like, how did that not freak her out?" And she giggled her whole way through the whole experience. And she made sure she's one of those types of people. Ain't nothing you could say or do to that woman that's going to knock her down, because she's a stone wall as far as that concerned. Is that you can take a bulldozer to it, you could take a hammer to it, you could take a big wrecking ball to it, which I've always wanted to do. Like we've talked about this before. Take a big wrecking ball, knock down a building. It doesn't matter. She's bulletproof because she brings the perception of you aren't going to beat me. And you could take that and you could take it and you could say it to the court, or you could say it to any situation in your life. You could say it to a person. It doesn't matter. But when you have that, I'm untouchable, you can't beat me. How empowering is that? Because we are the only ones that can defeat ourselves. No one else has the power to defeat us unless we give it to them. So apply that to whatever you want. But this is, I think, a lot of people, I think that Curie probably represents a certain degree of courage that a lot of people are starting to wake up and realize that they have. And a lot of the time, it takes somebody like Curie or a situation like what she's going through for people who go, well, shit, I could do that too. You know, and it doesn't have to be in the way that she did it. I mean, I'm still not probably ready to go up against a court and defend myself like the way that she did. But there's a lot of other areas in my life where I do have that confidence. But boy, oh boy, you better believe that I'm reading all this. I'm getting myself there in that regard. But and that attitude, the attitude I think that you bring to everything at this point is the key to your ultimate salvation or defeat. Does that make any sense whatsoever?
Yeah.
It all makes sense, Brian. And it gets down to the spectrum of experiences that people will be having, have been having. It covers the complete range. And Brian alluded to something, or actually Bob alluded to something when he spoke a minute ago that that other people around you will end up affecting you the same way, and that's absolutely true. You'll be on the end of some of this as well, inevitably. And some of the people listening are familiar with Vera, and Vera and I talk a lot, and one of the words that we joke about now is beige. And when you have an experience, a consciousness expanding experience, many things in your life previous to that can feel beige by comparison, and we don't want to go back to beige. And whether it's the details of your day-to-day life, or whether it's some of the people in your life and relationships that you had and have, just feel beige. And you're not prepared to settle for beige anymore. By comparison. And as Brian was, it's that comfortable place. That comfortable place is bloody beige. And who wants beige? We all once you've made a really major shift like that, you want challenges. You want to keep it moving. You want to keep the momentum going. You want to be challenged to constantly grow and constantly move. And beige just doesn't do it.
There's a real quick. I'm sorry to cut you off, but
no, go.
That's if I don't say it. There's a quote in that Mary Croft book that I put on my blog. She says, "If you're not living on the edge, you're taking too much space. You're taking up too much space." Yeah. And so that's saying that's to touch on your whole beige comment. I thought that was applicable. Indeed.
Indeed. And look, one of the other conversations I had after it was actually right at the end of the repurposing show on Monday, and so it's on the archive. It wasn't on the stream. It was a conversation from Daniel, who is an amazing individual in Minneapolis, and he's got a crew, and he's had a crew for many, many years, collecting food, excess food from the restaurants and other food vendors, plus from wholesalers, and literally bussing that out to give away to homeless people and families that need it. And they've got two buses, one where they cook food and one where they just distribute food. and the people that he's working with are really feeling it, because resources are really tight. They're going to lose the warehousing for their buses, and if anyone out there in Minneapolis has some spare warehouse space, please drop us an email, because we have someone who needs room for a couple of buses. And he was just saying to me that he has a lot of contacts and friends who are right out on the coal face doing stuff in the streets with people, and they are really feeling it. And there aren't a great many words of comfort we can give to people who are right on that coal face, except to say that the resolution is coming up rapidly, and that their work has been absolutely pivotal in holding all the spaces that needed to be held to make it happen. And all we can say is understand your soul's journey, understand who you are, and be proud that you stepped up at this point in time. Because they're feeling the contrast, because they're right in front of it. But at the same time, they'll be looking at the people around them, the people they're serving, and if they can appreciate the hardship that people's going through is part of their growth, as their own hardship is part of their growth. And that's easy for me to say sitting here in this nice warm office. Really easy for me to say. But this is the reality that all four of us are talking about today, that this reality is the toughest in this universe, apparently. So, well done to everybody in this shift. Everybody's at the front of this shift. Even if you think you're only the minorest of roles, you're not. Even if you're listening to the conversation, you're absolutely pivotal in making this happen, because you're linked into the consciousness like we all are. And every little push upwards is absolutely needed to make this thing happen.
I couldn't agree with you more, Chris. One story you just brought up, talking about the whole adversity thing. I mean, yeah, you might be sitting in your warm office right now, but it doesn't mean you haven't had your tough days. And I think we've actually had this conversation offline before. Looking back at some of the most challenging situations that I've ever had to deal with. I mean, I remember, in 2005, 2006, I went up with the real estate boom in California. I was a real estate broker, and I was one of very few honest mortgage brokers that did clean paper back in that day. But there was a lot of money to be made, and I did very well for myself. I had my own office. I bought my own condo in Orange County, and drove a brand new nice Mercedes off the lot. And I was on my way, in my own eyes back then, I was on my way to an extreme amount of financial success. I just looked at it as success at the time. I was still a really good guy. I wanted to make money so I could share it with others. But then 2007, 2008 hit, and everything crashed. And everything plummeted. And I mean, it literally over a course, and it was just a month after month after month of just this downward spiral of losing employees, losing deals. And at one point, I remember I was literally pouring quarters out of my 5-gallon change tank, my roommate's 5-gallon change tank, to put enough gas into my car, a $60,000 car, to drive a mile to Jack in the Box to get a 99-cent jumbo jack. And then coming home the next day to the gas and power being shut off, the power being shut off, and having to make pancakes on the gas stove in the dark with a flashlight. And
I fried chicken just that way, Brian.
And it's funny. It's I even at the time, it wasn't why always me. It was I laughed. I mean, we laughed at how ridiculous and silly this whole situation was, that we were just so beyond broke, not a penny to our name, nothing really going for us as far as work or anything. And looking back on it now, I didn't realize that that was going to be my greatest opportunity for growth at the time. But looking back on it now, that's what I turned a corner. The first book I picked up, I remember, it was Dr. Wayne Dyer, Power of Intention. And I read that book, and I was like, holy shit, I'm going to get through this. And looking back on that experience now, I'm like, I don't remember the glory days of, I had all this money and I was doing all these fun things. I remember back to the adversity that I faced and how that sparked my journey into my own awakening and going within. And I'm more grateful now for that experience than I was at any day of getting some big paycheck, or it wasn't about the money. So if you take that, everybody's got that. A lot of people have stories about, facing major adversities, in their life, and how they're the looking back on them are they turned out to be the greatest gift. And if you have that, if you're able to train your mind to have that perspective when you're going through whatever it is that you're going through, realize and give it recognition that it's your greatest gift right now. And don't wait to have to look back on it someday. Anything that brings up some emotion that is, sorrow or sadness or anger or financial woes or struggles. I know it's really hard. I really do. I know it is. I get emails from people all the time that are, people that are severely struggling when they have whole families. But if we are able to look at it from our soul level and look at the bigger picture and realize that these experiences are our greatest gifts right now, then the perspective changes, and you have the ability to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and say, look, I'm not going to die. This isn't going to kill me. I'm going to get through it.
Brian, in retrospect, it's almost always that way. The visit to the doctor was never as bad as you ever thought it was going to be. In retrospect, a lot of things are you can look back at those points in your life when you were going through that pain and suffering and be grateful for it. I mean, literally, and it no longer carries that painful energy anymore. Mm-hmm. And so your feelings that are associated about that, or that may have been associated about that event or experience at the time, will change. But it occurred to me, what occurred to me is the reason why we grow so much, and a lot of times we get our greatest insight during the times of pain and suffering. And quite frankly, it's because it's at that period of time that your heart is open and you are vulnerable. Mm. This is the whole thing that, people are we talked about this before in several shows, how people are afraid of being vulnerable. They're afraid of being hurt. So they, because nobody wants to inflict pain on themselves. So I think subconsciously we create these experiences for ourselves so that, on the outside it looks like it's coming from somewhere outside of us, but it's our creation. And we go through the pain, mm-hmm. But it allows that vulnerable open-heartedness that you feel, when you're in that...
That's part of the shift, is that you don't need to get to that place through pain anymore.
You don't have to.
You can access that place and be in that state out of joy and out of love and just more consciously.
Yes. And that's what I was going to get into, Lisa. Once you can allow yourself to be vulnerable, and you don't need pain to do it. Mm. You can open up your heart. You can crack that barrier, that shell that we've put on, around our hearts, and we don't necessarily need the rock of pain to do it.
Have you ever been in a state, an emotional state, and in so much pain, and you've cried hysterically, basically for hours, to the point where your physical vision literally shifts?
Every day.
Have you ever had?
The first time.
You had that?
First time that happened to me, I was 18 years old, and my best friend in high school had just been killed in a car accident. And I was unconsolable. Cried for the whole entire day. It happened. Was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock in the morning. I was still crying.
And your vision starts to, like, everything becomes surreal in your vision, and colors change. It's a whole different perception.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
And when you're in that place, it's almost like the most alive feeling you've ever experienced. All of your senses change and are heightened. And you go, maybe surrender is the right word. Thank you.
Surrender is I was.
So
right
Judy put
point,
it.
Judy.
Yeah.
In those experiences, you actually lose you for a short period of time.
You get out of your own way for a minute.
Yeah.
And you become completely vulnerable and surrender to it. I guess because it feels like it can't possibly get any worse than this. Bless you. This is as bad and as painful as it can possibly get. There is nowhere to go from here except up. And that's when magic happens.
Yeah, look, Katerina just put a really good comment in the chat that exactly meshes with what we're saying here. And I'll read it out verbatim because I think it needs to be read that way. And it says, adversity, crisis, dis-ease is a point of friction gifted to us in order to choose differently. Energy is dynamic, constantly in flux. We are the ones who solidify or crystallize it into fixed thoughts and feelings. Right now, solidified energy is breaking up in order for the new, which we create.
Nicely said.
Yeah, very nicely said. And a very simple analogy would be one of the best ways to kind of refresh yourself is to go through your wardrobe, throw out anything you haven't worn for a year, and look at the space that's left in there. You know, stuff that you've clung on to for years. You never wear it again. You've gone through many, years of cycles of summer, autumn, winter, spring. If you haven't worn it for a cycle, you'll probably never wear it again. And it's just, we create these situations in our lives, and then we suffer the grief when they are disrupted by some event or situation. And it's all of our own making. Yet we still feel it as sometimes an uncontrollable event. Bob's friend got killed in a car. Why did that happen? That it just seems so random and senseless. But was it? Maybe it was part of his soul contract to experience that, so he could have this conversation now, decades later.
Yeah. I resonate with the cleaning out the closet thing, because anybody could share their closet cleaning experience. You could say, for me, it's like when you carry, you feel so contained when you're lugging stuff around, and what a great illustration that is for things that you might be lugging around in your psyche or in your consciousness or whatever it might be. And when you actually liberate yourself from all those things, it's such a ridiculous liberation. I remember I did my last 2 or 3 moves ago. I counted, I've moved 15 times since 1999 because I was a college student. And I was lugging all sorts of stuff around with me. And finally I went through, I was like, what is this stuff? Does this stuff have sentimental value? Like, there's memories in it, and there's stuff and whatever. And I finally got to the point I was like, I don't need to lug around any of this garbage. I don't need any of it. I dumped 80% of what I either donated it, threw it away if I knew nobody wanted it, gave it away or whatever, and I felt free. It was like and you can use that as things in your garage or whatever it is that you might be carrying around emotionally, in your auric field, whatever, that just, it's time for it to be released. It's no longer serving you. You don't need those things anymore. They have already served their purpose. They're ready to be retired, and all that it takes is a conscious choice to do so. And I think a lot of the time that we as humans, part of the human condition, is we think that, I guess the illusion is that we don't have the conscious choice to free ourselves from those things. You know, but this happened to me and that happened and I just can't. It's going to be really hard to let it go. What? Do it. You know, and I'm not saying that when I say it, I'm not saying it's easy. That's what we're talking about here. A lot of the times it's really hard, but doesn't mean you don't have a choice.
Brian, you just triggered something in me because you reminded me of the saying that what you own ends up owning you. And then bringing it back to relationships, it's the same way, you know, that my child, my spouse, my parent, my sibling, sorry, I mean, I'm talking on the run.
Lisa, I like that point you brought up a while back. And you'll remember, you know, you're not the boss of me, or I'm the boss of me, so you're off the hook.
I'm responsible for my own happiness, so you're off the hook.
Yep.
Precisely. Exactly. Yep. So we can't look at outside situations as being something that control us. They only have control if we give it to them. It's, you know, and that is just the personal version of the system we're living in. You know, we look at the system and say, oh, you know, we can't do anything about it. That's just the way it is. Well, we made that happen by giving our control to it, by giving our free will away to it.
We've actually got some callers. We should bring them in and get them on this conversation.
Yeah.
Cool.
We've got area code 336. Area code 336?
Hello?
Hello.
Is that Randy?
It's Randy.
It is. Hey, darling.
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Really, really well.
Awesome, Randy.
I tell you
what. Are we not doing awesome, Randy?
You know, Randy, in the UK, your name has a completely different meaning.
Oh, and in Australia.
And in Australia,
yeah.
Yep.
I'm feeling very Randy tonight, yes.
Go on.
There's actually a road trip to go see Randy. Go ahead, Randy.
You guys, it's almost like sometimes when you're talking, I just want to jump in and share something, but I feel fortunate to be on the call with you guys, first of all. And secondly, you brought up about the family part. And it's interesting that the first night that I listened to Brian talking to Poop is where this all started for me. And it's just graduated from that point. But the night that I listened to Brian and Poop, I was with my brother, who I hadn't been with for several years. So it was almost like it started a family reunion for me. And I've got my brother on these calls, and tonight he's on the call. He's on the calls every night, and he gets so excited because he wants to hear his brother on the call.
And what's your brother's name?
Yeah, give him a shout out. Say hi.
Say hey to Ricky, everybody.
Ricky.
Randy.
Hey, Ricky.
Hey, Ricky.
He's going through a tough time, and he really needs some support right now. But you guys brought up the family part of it.
Ricky, real quick shout out to Ricky. Ricky, it's gonna be okay. We love you. The sun will always shine on a new day, no matter how rainy the storm. And your brother's freaking awesome. You got that going for you, so all will be well.
No, my brother's freaking awesome to me.
Absolutely.
But, you know, you guys, you talked about how, you know, this has grown, but it's just like Lisa was talking about, and she came to the point of tears, which brought me to the point of tears, but it's almost like I was at a point where I didn't know where my life was going. And then when I found these calls and started getting on these calls, there's an energy that comes from these calls that's amazing. And the things that are manifesting in my life, it's just like, wow, I can't believe this. If I need something, it automatically shows up. It's phenomenal.
You know, hey, Randy, you have a bright future in holding seminars for manifestation, my friend.
I was just going to say something on those lines. I mean, you've become an inspiration to so many yourself, you know, and you're a classic example to me of what this community is doing for each other. You join these calls almost every day, and you inspire. And you've got you've inspired a group of people who don't know each other outside of this community to come together in density and come and meet you. You know,
exactly.
I mean, and you've given them hope about what they can achieve in their own lives.
As a matter of fact, I got a phone call this afternoon from a lady from South Carolina. She said, there's about 10 to 15 people that's trying to do a meetup with you, and we're trying to figure out a good time to get together. And I told her, maybe let's try to plan around Labor Day weekend. So I just wanted to say that on the call, so maybe everybody that's listening can get together. But there's so many people that want to get together in my area, and I love it. I mean, I absolutely love it. I don't know if anybody knows what Dale Carnegie's speaking classes are, but I was the top graduate out of 40 people in my class for speaking. And I just feel like it's my calling somehow. And I just want to play my part.
Oh, you are.
Yep.
Randy, you are. Don't underestimate everything you've done up to this point. Obviously, there's a hell of a lot more to come. But do not underestimate your role. As I said before, there really aren't any minor roles. None.
What town in North Carolina are you in again?
I'm in Denton, North Carolina. It's a small farm community,
Denton.
but it's, Denton, D-E-N-T-O-N.
Okay.
Randy, did you organise yourself a computer of some kind yet? Because it sounds like you're on the phone.
I am still on the phone. All I have to get on the computer with is an iPhone, so I've got to manifest a computer at some point.
Yeah. Look, a great way of organising these meetings is meetup.com, because it's designed for exactly what you need to do, and I'm not sure how well that'll work on a phone, but it may work on a phone. If anyone out there knows
It does. There is an app for it.
Yep.
Okay.
There's an app for that?
Yep. There's an app for everything.
There's an app for that, yep.
Right.
And Randy, tell your brother, General MacArthur said, when you find yourself going through hell, the key is to keep going.
Well, my brother's the one that kept me going, and I just wanted to share tonight how much I love him and how much he's brought me through, and he's been the positive person in my life to help me through some of these situations I was going through, and I just felt like that I needed to share with everybody that he needs a little upliftment right now.
Well, he's getting a lot of love in the chat, that's for sure.
Yeah. No, so does Daniel.
Know what's great about all these experiences, Randy? Once you get past them, they make great stories to tell around the fire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I love each and every one of you on the call, and I just wanted to share my heart tonight, and I feel like I'm there with each and every one of you, and I love you, and good night.
Hey,
Thank
we
you
love you too,
so
Randy.
much. We love you too, Randy. And Ricky.
And Ricky.
And Ricky.
Thanks, Randy. Oh, I love it when he calls in. Okay, area code 212.
Hey, guys.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, it's Mike in New York.
Hey, Mike
Hello,
in New York.
Mike.
I just want one 60-second blast, guys, of something that 2 weeks ago on the One People Show I didn't get to quite finish up with Chris, and as I listened back, I wanted to just come in, nail it, and then let you guys get to more callers.
Floor is yours,
Chris,
my friend.
Go for it.
Well, so Chris said, what we're trying to do, Mike, is get them to accept our living, breathing bodies as the value. And I was listening to what Bob had to say or whatever, and that just dropped. And it's been boring a hole through my brain for 8 days now. So what I just wanted to say is that we're not trying to get them to accept our living, breathing bodies as value, because they did that 80 years ago. In 1933, when they did the corporate bankruptcy and turned us all into chattel paper, all into their commodities. So they accepted our bodies as value 80 years ago, and now the only thing left is just getting them to admit what they did, and us squaring those 80 years, without holding anyone harm. But just,
Mike,
what Kerry did was just wake everybody up again, and it was brilliant. And we just, when they admit this and accept everybody as value, which they did 80 years ago, only they never told us. That's all I just wanted to get out, was that they never told us. They accepted our value 80 years ago.
Yeah. Mark, you are absolutely correct. I stand corrected there. I didn't quite finish that thought properly, and you have done, so thank you for that.
That was my fault, Chris.
No. It's these conversations happen in so many different versions over a period of time. We don't always get the information exactly correct, but you're absolutely spot on. They have always acknowledged that we're the value, but they didn't tell us that we were the value. That's the deception. That's the deceptive act.
Yeah, they didn't
practice.
tell us because they took it for themselves.
They stole it.
Yeah,
that's it. They stole it. And what you're talking about, the reconciliation, the reclamation of value is simply, the remedy for the harm that they've done. It's a very simple proposition, and it's exactly what Heather's procedure did for us.
And Carrie took that thing
level.
towards the end zone last week.
Oh, didn't she? That was fantastic, and she's still doing it. And you probably heard what happened yesterday. Oh, she's amazing stuff. What a great example.
Really inspiring, just like the rest of you guys. So, have a great night.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
Bye.
Area code 732.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, this is Mark from New Jersey, East Coast.
And how are you?
I'm hot. Sweltering hot.
I'm frozen, so, we balance each other out.
Contrast.
Contrast,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. I just wanted to just give a short rant here, if I may, and I'm not going to be, long with it.
60 seconds starts now, too.
Be as brief as possible. But something that you were talking about as far as pretty much agony in your life. What I wanted to say is this. I can understand that people have been through agonizing situations because we all have. And we've all had thorns in the flesh. Some of us longer than others. But what I could say in testament to this, to that particular thing, is that for some of us, it has a little bit more longevity than for others, where others may see manifestations of things in their lives, and that's great. But I know from my own experience, it's been like I've been on a ship at sea that has seen calm water for brief spells, and the rest are just in storms. And I'm not exaggerating, and I'm not complaining or griping, but I know what it's like to wonder where my next meal is going to come from, and that wasn't for weeks or months. That was for years. I've gone months wondering where I was going to sleep tomorrow night, where I was going to wake up at, what deserted place am I going to go and hold up in for the night, and just hope that there's nobody in there that's going to want to do something to me because I have a pair of shoes and they don't. I know what it's like to have to do things that I didn't want to do just so that I could have a little bit of something in my pocket to be able to go and maybe get a cup of coffee and a bagel for the morning, maybe a bag of chips and a soda and a piece of fruit for the afternoon, and then maybe a sandwich and a soda for the evening. So I'm glad that people are sharing their experiences, and I know that there has to be, figuratively speaking, a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I'm just putting it that way. But I most certainly know what agony really, really is. And I see people around me every single day, who have some kind of agony that just doesn't seem to end. It seems to be just a vicious cycle over and over and over again. And I can't really say that I've done anything to bring this on myself, but it's something that I, as well as other people I see, have been perpetually going through. And when I started talking to people, who were, following the One People, and I started listening to the calls, then, I began to see, well, maybe there's something here at the end of the rainbow. Sometimes for some people, it's just the question for them is when? When am I going to finally be able to come out of the storm and get up under a decent shelter and get dry and put on some new clothes, because I haven't bought clothes in years. Still wearing the same thing maybe I've had for 6, 7, 8 years. So anything that I part with would just pretty much leave me in an austere position. This is the mentality.
Can I ask you, you're still in this situation. Are you still going from day to day wondering where your next meal and your next bed's coming from?
Well, luckily at this point, no. But I just pretty much got out of that situation not even less than half a year ago.
Uh-huh. And what was it that helped you make that shift?
Well, honestly, someone very close to me passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And what ended up happening was I lost the place that I was staying at after that happened, and basically I was back to the streets doing what I needed to do to survive. And one of my family members was calling to check on me and wondering where I was at, and I wouldn't tell them, because I just didn't want them to be involved in what I had to be involved in at that time to live. I didn't want to bring that to their door. And they told me, they said, well, listen, I really don't want you to be out there on the streets like that, and I don't want you having to look over your shoulder all the time because you're doing things, why don't you come over here? And then I came over and stayed with them, and, I've been with them now, for a little while.
What's your name, man?
Mark. This is Mark.
Mark. Mark, first of all, my heart goes out to you. And, I've gone through a lot of very difficult times in my life, but I've never been homeless. And I have no idea what that feels like, so I can't speak to it. And, we've talked about this a little bit earlier, is that, I think Chris brought it up, is that there's just amazing atrocities that have and continue to take place in this world. And only God knows, ultimately, because we can all speculate, we can all assume, we can all talk spirituality and talk about karmic debt or law of attraction or any of those things, but truly, the true answer is nobody really knows for certain why, call it God, call it the universe, put situations into our life that are so challenging. I think that
the reason why is because you can handle it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
there's you only get what you can handle. You only get what you can handle, and this is something that I realize. You take a 5-year-old boy, and his lollipop has just fallen on the ground into the dirt. Now, to that 5-year-old boy, it's the end of the world. And he'll come and he'll scream and he'll go, my lollipop, and you may be sitting there trying to pay bills, and you're like, hey, kid, I got real problems here. Go chase yourself. But for that child, that lollipop was his biggest problem as the pile of bills that you have on your desk. It hurt just as much. and it's just as real to them. And for a lot of people, you can't compare what you're going through, in the state. Everybody gets what they can handle.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't belittle or look down on yourself or someone else's experience in comparison, because they've gotten what they can handle, what their soul needs for that moment. I found I have been homeless, and I've been homeless in foreign countries, which isn't easy. I wouldn't recommend it. But I'm still here, and I'm still here to tell the story. Mark, you're still here. You're still here. You're still telling the story.
Yeah. Can I just pass on to Mark some more words from my friend Katerina? She's listening very closely today. The easiest thing for me to do would be to read this out on her behalf. Mark, I want you to listen to this really carefully. Some of us came to experience the very worst situation. That Mark is in the space that he is without anger and hate is an absolute credit. Sorry, getting emotional again, folks. Celebrate his heart. He's held that space. Please bring this to his awareness, his gift to humanity. This is his gift to humanity collectively. And I'm glad you phoned in, mate.
Are you still with us, Mark?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yep. Yeah. So your voice. This is why I like to hear the voices of people, because it brings reality to all of us. And it's a privilege to do these shows, Mark.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't want to take up too much time, because I know you got other people on the line that want to, speak as well. So I'm gonna, make this my last point here. Yeah, I get all of that we all get what we can handle, or we go through things because we can be a credit to somebody else. When I started listening to the calls on OPPT, when it was that, now it's the one people, my come from is that, okay, I see suffering every day. I see it. Not necessarily me, but I've been there. I can relate to somebody that nobody wants to be around. I can relate to the guy who would go down to a public assistance office, is what we call it here in the States, to get some minimal financial help that they give you, and some minimal food, like Carrie was talking about the food grants in her country. Well, they call them stamps or credits over here. And I can relate to the guy who came into that office one day when everybody was sitting there, and this guy, he had a button-down shirt that was missing 8 of the buttons. He had on a pair of pants being held up with a safety pin because he didn't have a decent belt. He had on a pair of shoes, a pair of loafers, but he didn't have any socks. And, he wasn't shaven, and of course, he had an aroma to him because I guess he didn't have a place to bathe. But everybody in there is in there for the same thing, but they all want to shy away from him, and I know that as people, we all have a need to be around other people because it's just how we're made, so I can relate, and my come from was never, well, let's get this Project 13 going so I can, go ahead and, live it up and, pop champagne every day and all. It wasn't my come from. My come from is, hey, if I can ease the suffering somehow that somebody else is going through and show them that there's something else better for them, then that's where I'm coming from. Because
Mark, I see you will be that bridge. It's people like you who will be the bridge for those. For those who, like you say, no one else wants to look at, no one wants to make eye contact with, no one wants to get too close to. You'll be the one with the hand out to help these people up. And we need you. They need you. And there are many like you, I know, who have walked that line and had those experiences, and they don't shy away from from those people. Right. And you're the one who's going to be there to help them walk across that bridge and make that change. And thank you.
All right. Well, that's all I really had to say. I just hope that I'm still here, you know, to be able to experience, you know, this thing coming to fruition, so that there's those out there that can, you know that there's something better out there, that they don't have to go through living at the bottom of the barrel, you know, any longer. So, guys, thanks for your time, and I'll go ahead and mute out, and you go ahead and take care of the calls.
Thanks for calling, Mark. Love you, man.
Thank you, Mark. I just wanted to say, too, before we go to the next caller, that the best thing we can do is help each other and things like that. And you know, if there are people around Mark in Jersey who can simply communicate with him, and that would be a tremendous help to him and to all the people he's trying to help. And on that subject, the gentleman that we spoke of yesterday, who's in jail in Australia here, Grant C., currently the folks in the jail are somewhat confused because dozens of people are calling the jail to ask how he is. And that doesn't happen. And they're all claiming to be assisting him. And that doesn't happen. So that just shows you, and that's just happened in the last 24 hours. We've got a Skype room going to coordinate some information we want to get to him, and we want to make sure we can communicate with him. But the people who are actually running that facility are getting confused. Cognitive dissonance at their end. They don't understand it. And that's fine. That's something that they'll learn from being exposed to. And I just hope some of the messages are getting through to Grant. It's a little hard to tell from this distance. But supporting each other is the key thing that we can do. In fact, it's the key thing that draws us all out of this is when everybody is on that same wavelength.
So I just want to ask Mark, where are you again? Did you say New Jersey?
Yeah, I'm in New Jersey.
Is there a way that anybody else who might be listening, if they're in their area, can get in touch with you?
Yeah. I have phone contact. I have email.
Do you mind giving out an email?
Sure. You can reach me at diplomark1@gmail. That's D like David, I, P like Peter, LOM like Mary, ARC like Charlie, and the numeral 1@gmail.com.
DITLOMARC1.
At Gmail.
Gmail.
At Gmail.
Okay, if you're in the Jersey area and you want to connect with Mark, please do. I've put his email address into the chat room.
I think it's Diplo, not Ditlo. Diplomark, right? D-I-P as in Paul?
P as in Paul, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah. Even if you're not in Jersey, you know, if you want to communicate with Mark for whatever reason, support him, get involved with what he's doing. You know, this is what it's all about, folks. It's reaching out and making those connections.
Thank you for calling in, Mark.
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
All right. Thanks a lot, everyone.
There, brother.
Have a good night.
You too, darling.
Good night, Mark.
Yes.
Wow. I love everybody in this call. Area code 540.
Hey, this is Tom from Virginia.
Sorry, Tom, is it?
Yeah, Tom from Virginia.
Hi, Tom
Hey,
from
Tom.
Virginia.
Hey, Tom.
Does it sound like there's a lot of wind?
No, you
good,
sound good.
Okay, great. I'm on a bike ride with my 8-year-old.
How about
Geez,
that?
I just want to call in and, just say hi to everybody. And I'm the guy that posted on Lisa's wall the other day and told her that she was a badass. And you are.
That's you. Hey, hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
What a great show you guys are doing tonight. it's really funny when I first called in, I heard Brian retelling his story of making a career change, losing the job, and all that. And I went through a very similar experience I can relate to. I ended up changing careers and becoming a high school teacher, which has been really awesome, aside from, all the bureaucratic BS that goes along with it. But I just, found my calling as far as working with kids and teaching them skills, and it's been really cool. Hello?
Yes,
Hello.
sorry. Yeah, we were listening intently.
Okay, no problem. Oh, man, I don't even know where to begin. It's like, it's been a roller coaster ride for me, like the last, probably going on 3 years. Just bumping from one amazing epiphany to another. And since day one, I think, I remember at least listening to your end of the year shows with Alpha Ra and Simeon Collective, and it was just like, wow, I really did feel, something shifting. Not something like profound, that's going to be earth-shattering or anything like that, but just a shift. And, when Heather came on the scene, it was like, geez, it's just kicking up another notch. And it just, everybody was kind of doubtful and, questioning what's what. And, it was just weird because it just totally resonated right away for me, and I totally got it. And so it's just been really kind of, I don't know, every day is a new adventure, just holding the space. And, the shift that's occurred to me personally has been really amazing. And it's been difficult, too, as I think a lot of people can relate to. I mean, the people who called in today sharing their stories have been really just amazing. I mean, this is just humanity getting together and just letting it all hang out, and it's just really cool.
Yeah, it is. Letting it all hang out.
Mark,
So, it's like funny. I'm sorry.
Are you on a headset, or are you riding on your bike with your kid on there with one hand on the phone,
do you need me
the other on the... No, I'm just laughing at the danger level of what you're doing over there. But
I do my own tricks.
Oh, there you go.
No, it's great. This is something my daughter and I do every night since summer started. She's got a young friend that she has a crush on, and she makes me take her out each night and drive by his house 2 or 3 times, and I'll ring the bell to embarrass her.
Dad. I can hear her. What's
now,
her name?
yeah, now you're in trouble, Dad.
Yeah, she just whacked me on the butt.
Yep.
So anyway, listen, I have a couple things I wanted to shoot to probably Bob. Serendipitously, I got in touch with an old high school friend who works in finance at a pretty high level in New York, and shared with him the UCC filings. And he had some questions, and I just wanted to bounce them off Bob and maybe get some feedback. So I thought it would be great if I could just send you a message on Facebook and kind of go from there.
To Bob.
What's that?
Bob, that's you, buddy. He's going to send you a message on Facebook.
Yeah, Bob, I was just...
My Facebook, I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah,
you're not in the chat.
You guys are friends
No,
already.
I'm on my phone. Listen, we're all
okay.
friends on
I'm
Facebook.
already friends with you then.
Yeah, no, he's just saying
I just wanted to
got
give you a
some
heads
questions.
up. I might bounce you a message.
Okay. I will look for it.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
all right, well, listen, I want to hog
colleague
up your time.
Thanks, Tom. Say hi to your
All right,
daughter
bye,
for
guys.
us.
Yep.
Love you.
Bye, Tom.
Bye.
You too, buddy.
Bye.
One of our colleagues, John Van Newton, had a really quite skillful conversation with a stockbroker yesterday about the UCC filings and about the fact that the country Australia is a corporation. And he had a very quite meaningful dialogue with this gentleman, and there'll be some research going on behalf of this guy's clients, because they have, for instance, clients who invest in the banks, and he was not happy to hear that the banks are all hooked up to the hilt to the Federal Reserve. Not happy camper. So it's very interesting that people are making these little connections and pushing this information out further and further and further.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Mm.
Okay, we have area code 626.
Oh, that's me.
That's you, yeah.
Hey, me.
Hi, everybody. This is Mark Sandoval. Hey, bro.
Hey.
What's up, Mark?
Yeah, this is Mark. Another Mark on the line. I'm doing great. I kind of missed the whole show tonight. Didn't miss last night, but what I'm catching from this show tonight is an awesome open line, and people are kind of sharing their heart with everybody tonight. Is that what is that correct?
Well, it seems to have been the flavour so far, and it's been lovely.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate that. The guy from New Jersey that called in, Mark, he was quite transparent in his situation, and my heart goes out to him, and I'll keep him in my prayers as well. But I guess I didn't really expect to get on the call tonight, but I have been in pretty heavy meditation over this and sending as much energy as I could to Kira, because I'm really interested in seeing how this plays out with her. I'm so excited and so happy and so proud to be a part of this and see her jump and just burst out of this scene the way she has. It's just amazing what this woman is doing. But I've had such a great reflection today that I guess I want to share with everybody, in that years ago I was involved in a project, and it was a significant project that had a lot of promise to it. It was with the Sassoon family. It was Beverly Sassoon and her children, Elon and Katya. And, we were flying around the country, and there was a lot of promise here, and we were very excited about it, and I had brought in some investors, and it was about a skincare and health products, and we thought it was something big, and we thought it was going to explode onto the market, and unfortunately it did not do it. But there was that point where we came up to it launching. We're sitting in a hotel in Boca Raton, Florida, and Beverly and I are sitting there having dinner, and she gave me this pearls of wisdom that really impacted my life and my being from that point on. And what she told me was, she actually grabbed my hand and looked at me in my eyes, and she told me, Mark, as we go into this, she goes, I want you to remember something and never forget it. She says, do not, whatever you do not get caught up into the money. She said, take care of the people, and the money will take care of itself. And that was something that really hit me. It hit me really, really significantly. And it has been a motto of mine since then. Now, the project fell. It didn't work. But it didn't matter, because it made a big difference in me. And it set my course. And I've always had this heart for people. And as we're entering into this new paradigm that we're all a part of, I just felt inspired to share this with everybody, because I truly believe, and I can just feel the energy, and I just know this is about to happen, and we're getting the bugs worked out through Kira, it looks like, and I'm very excited about this, but I don't want to get caught up into the fact of the money, and I constantly think to myself, what are you going to do? Where are we going to go? How are we going to do this? And I have a plan, and as I'm sure everybody does. But I know my plan includes starting with, and always will be, with the elderly, and that's where my heart is, and those are the people that are not going to be forgotten through this. So I'm excited about that, and I'm chomping at the bit, and I'm struggling myself, and I'm having a hard time making ends meet, taking care of my two little girls. But it all doesn't matter, because I will not escape the fact that I am free, I am happy, and I'm here. And
Mark, your story Your story kind of reminds me of what my mom told me. And this was, I had mentioned it earlier, when I was younger. I was just had graduated high school. I was 18 years old, and my best friend at the time was killed in a car accident. And I was unconsolable. Like, I was crying. Nobody could tell me anything that was going to make anything right. But my mom found a way. She said just the right thing, and it stuck with me my whole life, and I've lived by it. And she goes, there's nothing that I can say that's going to make you feel better. And she goes, and it hurts me to see that I can't help you. But she goes, whenever I have been in a situation where no one can help me and I can't help myself, she says the best way to help yourself sometimes is to help someone else.
Oh yeah.
And she made me go over to his family's house, because she said, think about what they're going through, and they could probably use the support. And I really didn't want to go, but when I did, when I actually reached out and tried to give them support, even though I needed it, we ended up supporting each other. And this is the key, people. What I've learned in dealing this whole journey is that people are inherently good inside.
Oh,
and we are the answer to each other's prayer. The answer lies within ourselves, and each of us have a key. But we don't realize, a lot of times we think about ourselves, a lot of times we look at ourselves and we think, oh, well, what can I do? And this was mentioned earlier in the conversation. What difference can I make? But you don't understand that little piece that you may have that you think is insignificant to you may be life-saving to someone else that you'll come in contact with. And a lot of these experiences that we're going through, you may think, what did that serve? And you don't realize, who it is actually helping. And it may not always be directly, to your benefit, but it helps someone. And in helping someone else, you help yourself. I cannot tell you how much my soul expands when I hear the comments and I hear the stories and the Facebook. I can't answer all of them, but I do try to read them all. And it's amazing, to know that you're appreciated, to know that you've made a difference. And there's a fulfillment that you can't get from any amount of money or any amount of this exchange that's happening between people. And this is what the whole IUV or eternal value exchange is all about. It's all about us connecting with each other and sharing what we have to build up the whole, to support one another and to help one another. And your piece, in dealing and helping with the elderly is the perfect piece for you, Mark, because I could hear the quality of your voice. You're one of those caring people that because I lived in a nursing home for 1.5 years, and I've dealt with nurses that were there because they had to be. And then I dealt with nurses that were there because they loved to help people. And there is a huge, vast difference, in that exchange. So I would say that, I know we're all chomping at the bit, but I know that the universe is supporting this piece of who you are and who you be and the doing that you wish to do. And I imagine that it's going to help a tremendous amount, and including yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I told Mark when he came over. Mark actually is my neighbor. He only lives about 30 minutes away. And he came over to my house. Mark, what did I tell you your biggest asset was?
Manifest. Excuse me.
You remember?
My art. Yeah, my art. My
their heart. Because Mark's a very he's a very heartfelt guy, and he's a very loving guy. And I think Mark represents an amazing you're just a great example, Mark, of when you just love people, because Mark brings his love to people no matter where he goes, and what an asset that is, and what a great example you're setting for so many people around you, Mark. And look at all the people that are going to hear, they're going to hear this call, and Bob couldn't have said it better. You need to help someone else.
I know. See, Brian, like I was telling you, it's not that I want to promote myself in any way. It's not about that. It's about loving people, and I've been with you guys since day one. I can't tell you how much of a fly I've been on the wall, just kicking back, listening, absorbing, reading, and just following along. And one of the reasons why I don't step forward is because I'm not looking for, don't take this wrong, anybody. I'm not one to take that center stage or take the full attention. I'm the one who acts behind the scenes and just supports the action. I'd rather promote and build up and encourage and equip and allow people to fly. Just put the wings on their back and say, go that way, because that's the way you're going. So I'm that kind of guy. I'm the support guy. I'm the guy that stands behind the scenes and say, let's go, man. What do you need me to do? Because I'm there for you. And that's what I want to do. That's who I am. I love you guys. I love everything you guys are doing. I'm riding this right along with you in support and my prayers, my energy. I feel you guys, and I can't say enough. And this seems like we're at the tipping point right now, and I just felt that it was important that I could step forward and share that little bit of what I have to everybody, because that's so important to me, and I know it's just as important to everybody else. So,
thanks for calling, Mark.
So much. You bet.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you soon.
We love you too, man.
Mark, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome, Lisa. No, thank you. Thank you. You're the perfect hostess. Excuse me.
And she is just, Mark. She actually is the perfect host. And one of the great things about this audience, the people who've been following along, is just the growth in understanding. You've been with it since the beginning. You've been on this whole roller coaster ride with us and a whole lot of other people. And if you look at yourself, your level of understanding about what is actually going on this planet and what the resolution is and where you're at, pop back 6 months and have a look at yourself, and it's just huge. It's amazing, and for us who are sort of on this end of the shows, as I said before, it's an absolute privilege to have been able to do this for you guys. Okay, I want you to make sure you understand that it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant, that we can actually help others along the road, and you're doing the same in your way from that background. So, thank you.
This has been one of the most love-filled, emotional, heart-filled shows I've ever been a part of, and it's an honour. And I feel so privileged that for those of you who have called in and shared your stories and shared your hearts with us, it's just extraordinary. And the people in the chat room are doing the same amongst themselves too. It's just, thank you. Huge. Thank you.
If I didn't call for every heart emoticon, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't need your value. Well, not from anywhere else. It's just there, right there. Well, no, in fact, look, the whole way that this new paradigm will work is goodwill. What's goodwill? Just another word for love. There you go. There's your emoticon.
Mm. Thank you again, Mark.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome. All right, guys. Talk to you soon.
So, thank you. I'm going to need a box of tissues with me if this keeps going. Area code 830.
Hello.
Area code 830. Yes, hello.
Hello. Oh, my goodness. I'm so grateful. Lisa, my name is Lydia.
Hi,
I
Lydia.
live in Texas. Can you all hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You're loud and clear.
Okay. I'm listening to the conversation and have been since the inception, from the very, very beginning, and tried to tap in a few times, but I guess got into the queue too late. So I think, just from my heart, such gratitude to be in on the conversation tonight, particularly because this is something that is so beautiful and so needed, I believe, at this time. I have some very, very dear friends, all of us that are in this circle, this family, who have been experiencing, I forget, maybe it was Chris who called it this roller coaster ride that we have all been on. And through this process, one thing that my husband and I talked about when we've listened to the conversations is that no matter where we've been in this process, we, as this family here, we've had some people calling in. Sometimes we're very upset, very anxious, wanting to know where's this, where's that, all kinds of things. We've run the gamut of emotions. Mm-hmm. And through it all, you, Bob, Lisa, Chris, Brian, Heather has been impeccable in this. Dee, she's hilarious. Have been so beautifully gracious and so patient. And where tough love needed to be administered, you gave it, I guess the only way I can put it, just so graciously. And I wanted to let you all know that it has not been lost on any of us, because each of us is very apparent tonight. Each of us have been going through some very, very traumatic things in our lives. And it's good to hear people bolster you up and to let you know and to talk our spiritual talk. And then there's times like tonight where it's okay to just let it all down and to simply be with one another in it, and to say that it's okay to feel broken right now. It's okay to be crying right now and have your heart just bursting wide open for your brothers and sisters right now. It's okay. And I want to tell you...
just took me right over the edge.
Well, it's... there's been some of us, my beautiful sister friend, Rose, I tell her, we hold each other. We hold each other right now. This is what we do. We've cut the tethers. We're no longer on the bank anymore, and we're in this flow now. And it's scary as hell sometimes, but nevertheless, we've done it. And this is where we hold each other. And we don't lose sight, and we don't lose focus, because we're all okay. No matter what the outward appearance is, we're all okay. And I have been in my dream with Brian. I have been in my dreams, believe it or not, even with a D. And my circumstances were such that I could not be physically, but there was a fire burning inside of me to such an extent that I felt that I should have been with you all in Morocco. That was like nothing I had ever experienced before. So I was with you, just not bodily. And you are my family. You are all my family. And anybody that knows me knows for so many years I have been saying, I'm looking for my family. I'm looking for my family. And I know I'm going to find my family. Well, you all, you beautiful brothers and sisters, are my family. And I love you, and I appreciate all of you. And if you would convey also to Heather, from the depth of our hearts, this beautiful, strong warrior woman. And Kiri, I told my husband, she's a warrior. That beautiful woman, she's a warrior of love. Look at her stand in her power. And I'm so honored. I'm so honored to have come into contact with my family. And Bob, my dear brother, I want you to know I was one of Jehovah's Witnesses for 16 years.
Wow.
So I get all of that too. Say it again, sweetie.
You have the voice of an angel.
I was going to say that.
Oh.
I can't stop crying.
I am forever grateful for knowing you in this way that we know one another, and for the beautiful, beautiful beings that you've showed to be for all of us. It's remarkable. And as I tell Rose, we have simply outgrown our language because words don't fit sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And beautiful Chris, what a beautiful man. He's held steady through so many things for us as well. So I just honor all of you, my brothers and sisters, and I respect you and I love you. And I want you to know that I want to be in Morocco with you. I want you to know this. I am not very whatever Facebook savvy or any of this, but my beloved sister Rose promises she's going to teach me so that somehow we can be in contact with one another. I'm eternally grateful, and this conversation tonight for all of us is a watershed moment. It's beautiful because we needed this tonight. We all truly, truly needed this to be able to have our hearts just wide open and honor each other in the pain and the sorrow and the ups and the downs and all of it. And it's okay. And it's okay. So thank you for allowing me to pour my heart out. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Lydia.
You're very welcome.
You realize you just pushed everybody over the edge, not just me. Everybody listening has reached for the tissues.
Lydia.
Oh my goodness.
I can't even say too much. Just thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. And I don't know how to be in touch with you, but I'm assuming all is precious and all is perfect, and we will be in touch with one another because I figure since I'm playing with you in my dreams, that's every bit as real.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So, and my husband Robert, who's sitting here next to me, asked me to please extend his love also. And
please, and share out with him. And I want to say to you too, on behalf of everybody who's listening, because I know that you've touched them all. Thank you from them.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And I guess I will. I'll go for now, and we will be in touch, and allow some other beautiful brothers and sisters to come on.
Thank you, Lydia.
Lydia, we love you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I love you also, and I truly, truly mean that. And like I said, Brian, we've been together in dreams already. And it's been comical. It's been totally comical. So I just know how beautifully perfect it all is. And here we go. So
here we go.
Beautiful evening and beautiful day for all of us. Okay. All right.
Much love, darling.
Much love too.
Oh my lordy! You know, when I was talking about how beautiful this community is at the beginning of the call, I mean, I had no idea how that was going to unfold tonight. But I guess we did all need this. You know, we really did, to just really touch one another. And share. Oh my God, Lydia, what have you done to me? Okay.
Okay, I think maybe, it's a little late for a music break.
It is. We'll soldier on.
Push on to the end of the show. We can't use the excuse, it's time for music. So we can all go and regain our composure. But thank you, Lydia. That was quite extraordinary. And yeah, I just think, as soon as you started to speak, I thought, an angel. And yeah.
She does. She has the voice of an angel.
Yep. She does.
Okay, we've got area code 218.
Hey, hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello?
That's you.
Hey, everybody, it's Daniel.
Yes, we hear you.
Hi,
Daniel.
Daniel, you're the Daniel, is this the Daniel that spoke with me a couple of days back?
Yes, it is.
From Minneapolis?
Yes, it is.
I'm glad you made it in. Welcome.
Thank you. I've just been kind of listening in awe with all of you, and I'm just, Lydia pretty much said it all. Wow. I'm honored to finally, I've corresponded with a couple of you via emails and whatnot and Facebook, but and I finally called into a show with Chris Sunday. But wow, this is a show I'm going to listen to a few times, and I am Mark, I am Lydia, I'm with all of you. I've heard so much of my own life tonight on the show that it's overwhelming me a little bit too.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
Wow. I was hoping just to end on like a real, obviously this has all been really positive because everyone's sharing, but and everyone's given their stories of inspiration and perseverance and manifestation. Randy's story is just a testament to what you can do when you really look inside yourself and call on what you want and call to your higher guides, either consciously or subconsciously. I remember when that happened in like 24 hours. He called in a show, and the next day he called back and he had a property.
Yes.
Exactly. Well, look, the same thing has happened to Hope Girl the last few days. She went from basically a point where she was literally out of funds completely, and she's paid so much energy into the universe that when she asked for help, she got it to the point where she's now able to. There's a software platform she needed money just to do get some final bits of technology for and final things they had to do, and that's all possible now. It's all happening as we speak because she asked.
Yeah, asking is
universe replied.
Huge. That was kind of like I'm gonna email Mark at some point. I'll go back to the show and get his email, but I've experienced firsthand, lived through so much of what he talks about, and those are the people I feel the most drawn to a lot of times because I know that level of despair that a lot of people feel like they can't get out of. They just don't know anything else. Or like what you said, that you were unconsolable for days, and having that kind of like long-term despair that people in the West can feel from like economic deprivation, but a lot of people around the world are feeling that all the time on so many different levels, and to experience that and to go back to the beginning of the show and kind of pull things around with how you were saying like that's your full soul beauty, joy. Sometimes the line between that despair and full experience of joy and what your capacity is as an entity and a pattern to experience, it's such a fine line, and oscillating between being overwhelmed by experience, essentially. And I just wanted to give, like I mentioned to Chris when I called in to the repurposing, I never really know where to go, which is why I haven't called for 6 months, because I feel like I could talk a long time about so many different subjects. But I wanted to thank Brian right now. I don't know if you read my email, but the last one I sent you, I was rambling about how I didn't do something with buying into the slavery system energy exchange, basically due to that little pep talk you gave while you were driving a few shows ago last week.
Oh, yeah.
I sent you the email.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever replied to your response, but I was you walked out of the DMV.
Yeah, I did.
That was the one.
I mean, if there's nothing more like an angelic or galactic or whatever, like something, I literally, really quick, I went to the DMV, go first thing in the morning, my license is expiring. Go early so you don't have to stand there for 3 hours, it takes forever. I don't know what DMVs are like in Australia or elsewhere, but it's like an all-day endeavor. So you go there early, there first thing in the morning, get my ticket, sit down, I get called within like 15, 20 minutes. I go up to the counter. My number is still flashing above the guy on the counter that the computer voice is called out. And I walk up, and the guy looks at my number. I hand it to him, and he won't serve me. He's like, no, your number didn't get called. And I was like, what? What are you talking about, man? Like, it was just flashing right above your head, and here's the ticket. And it was just called on the intercom. And he looked at me and was just like really rude and dismissive. He's like, no, I didn't call you. Like, get another ticket, get back in line. And of course, I'm like, I'm there for another 2 hours if I do that. That's why I showed up before the place opened. I'm not going to do that. So like instantly, like my old school ego, I'm from like whatever, like punk street communities and been a singer in lots of bands and stuff, and I was just like irate, The security guard starts walking over towards me, and I'm thinking I'm going to get tased here, So I look at the security guard, and I'm like, sir, this guy just called my number, it was flashing above him, and I'm trying to figure out why am I being discriminated against here? Like, what's going on? I feel like I'm being discriminated against, which is always eye-opening for a white male, And I'm just trying to think, like, what is happening here? So I just get upset because I'm like, I'm not going to sit down there and take that, obviously, and I walk out. And then a few days later, I'm thinking, like, I have basically 10 days before my license expires, and I'm getting a little background apprehension, right? Like in the back of my head, I'm like, ooh, it's getting close to 10 days, and your birthday is on July 24th. My birthday is today in Australia. Coming up, I don't know. Is it 24th there?
Yeah, it's the 24th. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Right. It's my 40th birthday. I never thought I'd make it. I'll get back to that point in a second. But so anyway, I'm literally the next day, I'm having all these bad, icky feelings about it. I'm like, I don't want to go in there, man. This doesn't feel right. Like anything that wasn't, like there was potentially some punitive thing down the road, like state controls is going to impact your life. You could be picked up for no reason or incarcerated or whatever. So that kind of stuff is like buzzing around the back of my head because I'm an activist for 20, 25 years. And I think about those things that are easily avoidable, This is some problem that might happen in the future that's easily avoidable. So you should just take care of it. So I'm thinking about it. And Brian comes on the show. I don't remember which show it is, you guys. I'm listening to so many shows, but I can't keep track of them all. But Brian comes in.
I was driving back south from my grandma's thing.
Yeah. And you just give this like, I'm done. I don't care what the ramifications are. I'm not going to attract any problems to me. I don't think about it. It's not going to happen. I don't buy in anymore. And it just like my whole being just like lit up, and it was like somebody talking to me from 20, 25 years ago when I was going to punk shows in the late 80s, and we didn't care about anything about that kind of stuff. I drove for years in my late teens and early 20s without thinking about that kind of stuff. And it hit me so hard, and I sent you an email and just with a lot of gratitude, and because it felt so horrible. Like everything in my fiber was like, don't go back and do it. And then it started dawning on me like, why do you think that happened? Why do you think that happened that you walked up to the counter when your number was flashing over it and the guy like looked at you like it was so that you wouldn't buy into like renewing your ownership contract. And it was very clear to me. So I'm very grateful to you, Ryan, for that. And I also wanted to say, Bob, I've sent you a few messages. I know you're probably overwhelmed, and I don't know. I don't want to hound you or anything, but if you would like any assistance, I think I might be able to assist you with some of like nerve regeneration stuff. If you got that message and you're not interested, that's cool, but I'm not sure if you got it, so I just wanted to reiterate that.
I probably did get it. Did you send it on Facebook or did you send me an email?
I sent it on Facebook.
Because somebody sent me like a 9-page Facebook message. That wasn't you, was it?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
I haven't read that one yet, but the rest of them I'm still going through. Like some of them are really, really long. Like,
well, I could send you an email, or it's just something that I know has really helped me because I had really bad neuropathy a couple years ago, which is nerve damage essentially, and this protocol that I've experienced has basically saved my life and my quality of living as far as I'm concerned. So if I can help you out, or if you want to know more about it, and take it or leave it.
You know what? I'll tell you what. My email address is nubius12@gmail.com.
Nubius?
Nubius.
Great.
12.
I'll get it on the callback. So I know we're running out of time, but again, with like Mark in my heart and Lydia in my heart and all of you in my heart, I just wanted to say, Chris mentioned what I've been doing with Sisters Camelot in Minneapolis since they've been around since '97. And I've been helping them since '99. But I want to say all these people that we have food to every day, like these are the strongest people in the world. These are like bedrock crew. Some of them are homeless. We use that word a little bit too much, but most of them are just low-income people. And 90% of people I know now can't afford to eat food that's not poisonous. So our whole mission statement and our goal is to get organic food to people who, most of the people we serve and that we give food to are working, these people are strong, they're powerful, they bless us, we bless them, and there's nothing like downtrodden or destitute about any of it. And just on that note, I just wanted to let people know that who are experiencing a lot of difficulties, like my brother Mark, man, my heart was going out to him when he was talking in New Jersey, because those are my people and that's where I'm from, and I know that situation inside and out. And I would just like to say to him that maybe he's already doing that, and I will email him, but call, ask for help, like Hope did. Like right now, I asked for help a long time ago when it wasn't necessarily available, because that's a different etheric question, because the grid was so much stronger, and the negative, like the braces around the planet were so much more powerful, 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago than they are now. But right now, when you're asking for help, if you really bare your soul and just ask for something to come into your life to get you to where you want to be, and that you're tired of being where you are, especially in the West, where we have a modicum of social stability, even for people who are on the lowest rungs of society, quote unquote, the lowest rungs of society. It's there. It'll come to you. It's come to me. And perseverance and will and connecting with those higher guides has kept me alive to my 40th birthday, which I couldn't have dreamed imaginable in my early 20s. beyond my scope of even possibility in my early 20s that I would ever reach 40 years old. So miracles can happen. When I was a kid, the doctors told me I would be unable to walk by the time I was 30 years old because of the birth, the congenital issues I was born with. I had a doctor tell me that when I was just a little kid, that I would not be able to walk, because I had a really hard time walking and running at all when I was little.
Sweetie, Daniel, I just wanted to interrupt you for a moment, because we're about to lose the live feed. And no, stay there. We are going to go just a little over time, because there's just a couple of more people in the queue with their hand up that I'd love to hear from. And Jerry's got a poem for us, so we will go over time just a little bit. And that's all I wanted to say. So if you call in, there's still some lines left on the call-in line if you want to stay with us. The guest call-in number is 646-716-4598. Otherwise, you will lose the live feed. And you can always go back and listen to the archive. I have a feeling some of you will do that anyway. So thank you all for joining us again today and this week. Just a reminder that we've got the Enjoy Show tomorrow with Brian and Judy. And I'm sure many of you will be back for that.
We got Hope Girl on tomorrow. And then you're coming on too, Lisa, too, right? Maybe.
I think I am.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right. I told Judy it's my birthday tomorrow. So
we got Lisa and Hope Girl on Enjoy Show tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
So I'll wrap up.
I
just want to say I honor you. I love you. I honor you guys so much. You've become like, other people have said, like, I just really look forward to hearing you on Mondays and Tuesdays, and now it's kind of it's broadening out into further into the week, and
we're taking up a lot of your time, aren't we?
What? You're taking up a lot of my time. You're inspiring me so much and inspiring so many of us around the world who, as I mentioned to Chris, have been doing stuff behind the scenes for a long time, and I just want to let you know that you've basically given me the courage to call in and talk to you in this very public fashion, because of the nature of the stuff that I've done and experienced in my life. It's just not something I would have ever done to call and put myself out here like this. And I think the energies have changed so much on the planet through so much of what you guys have done. You have been so integral to that, and I know that, and I feel it. I know it. It's not a belief. I know it. Because the energies have changed, and I feel safe enough from what I've done to call in and thank you for letting me feel like I can come out and start talking about my story for the first time ever in my life. I'm really grateful to you for that.
Well, Daniel, thank you for having the courage, and I got such a kick out of your email. I know I didn't respond to that second one, but I read it and I really enjoyed it, and I can't thank you enough for calling in and sharing your story, and for everybody that has called in. I have to jump here in a moment, but for everybody that has called in and shared their stories, God, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. I can't tell you how moved I am, and all of us, all the hosts and everybody I'm sure that's listening, by so many wonderful words that have been shared, and I'm rarely speechless, and I'm speechless right now because I'm beside myself, because this is why I do this work, and I do it because if I can only inspire one person, then that's all I need, and to find that you all inspire me. The callers that call in, we're inspired. This is one big family. I get my inspiration from you all. You all might get it from us, but let me tell you right now, we get it from you, and it's reciprocal. And it's so.
And Daniel, you just inspired a whole bunch of people yourself.
Yes,
who can
absolutely.
totally relate to where you've been and how you feel and wanting to stay in the background, and now they're going to start calling in.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of great callers tonight, and from the bottom of my heart, Lisa, Bob, Chris, Daniel, Mark, Lydia, and everybody else called tonight, thank you so much for being a part of this with us. We're all so connected, and everything else other than loving each other is unimportant when you have moments like this where you can share this type of heart-to-heart connection with so many people from all different places, from all around the world. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. I love you all. Until tomorrow on the Enjoy Show. One last quick announcement before I got to jump. I know you guys are going to go over a little long. If there's anybody in the Denver, Colorado area, a gentleman emailed me. His name is Brian Black. Him and his family are in a pretty tough spot. And I didn't share it in all the Skype rooms. I just figured I'd mention it on the air. If anybody is in Denver, Colorado, and they have any ability to help out with food or anything like that, his email is Akashic, AKASHIC 68. That's 1618. So Akashic68@gmail.com. Reach out to Brian Black if you can. And much love. Namaste. I love you all, and good night, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Brian.
Good night, Brian.
Good night.
Good night,
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. Well done today.
Thank you. You too.
And again, thank you, Daniel, for calling in.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. And look, to any other people out there, it is difficult to make that first phone call, but it is worth it, because you're sharing far more than just your voice. It's the energy that flows through amazingly strongly. So, Daniel, thank you so much for calling back in.
Yeah, it's
great.
It's an honor, and big gratitude to all of you. And Bob, I think I'm going to be calling your show and talking to you and Julian more about a little bit of the weirder stuff at some point. I guess that's the right show for that.
Weird stuff.
Well, look, we've got, on this 5D Media Network, we've got shows to cover pretty much anything.
That's true.
I want to talk the interface between, what you do in your daily life and what you consume, and how that helps your interface with the higher realms. And I'll call out another show about that. Thank you so much. I love you all. Great.
Thank you, Dylan.
Bye, Daniel.
Okay, we've got 3 callers who are currently with their hand up, so we'll leave it at those 3, and then we'll call it quits, as well as a poem from Jerry, if we can get her on. So, area
She's here,
code...
She is here, Lisa.
Oh, she's here. Okay, great. So, area code 773.
Hi, Lisa.
Yes.
Hey, hi. This is Don from Miami. How are you?
I'm magical today, to be honest.
I know. Well, I'm a first-time caller too, so there's a lot of that going on. But I wanted to kind of just share a story. A couple of weeks ago, Brian and I and I kind of bummed he got off the line, but we did a Reiki session together, and he during the session, one of the images that he gave back to me that he saw was a group of people in a circle holding hands, and they were just standing there holding. And as I walked up, and there was a spot open with 2 people, that there was a spot open for somebody to come in and hold hands. As soon as I held those hands and entered in that circle, everything was illuminated and fireworks started going off. And listening, I've been in and out tonight, but that told a lot to me for what I was going through a couple of weeks ago, but it seems so much of what is actually happening right now, that as everybody starts holding hands and working together, as opposed to some of the old ways of just moving through all of our energy, that so much more is happening, and so much more is happening sooner and quicker, and it's amazing.
Yeah, we are a circle, all holding hands.
Yeah,
right here,
it
right
is.
now.
And,
yeah.
And I think a lot of people fall into the idea of, I need to be doing something more. Lisa's doing radio shows, Chris is doing radio shows, Bob is doing radio shows, and moving around. And while all that is great, it's an avenue for other people to realize that maybe it's just holding a hand, as Daniel was talking about, what he was doing, and what Mark was saying, and what Lydia was saying. It's been so amazing tonight, just to realize that all that is coming through in so many different fashions, that it's spellbinding to watch it go through it.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for everything.
It's amazing that when I think collectively we consciously or unconsciously created the space. Mm-hmm. And we've all done our part to create this space and fill it. We didn't maybe know what it looked like, but we all wanted, as Lydia so beautifully put it, about wanting to meet her family. She was looking for her family and wanting to meet her family, and I think so many of us have had that feeling for so long, that intent created this space, and
oh, absolutely.
And here we are. we all stepped in once the space was created.
I remember consciously back in December thinking that myself, that there's something more, there's something that was missing, and then in January I found the work that you guys were doing, and it has been just such a great fit for me, and it's been a fun ride.
Yeah. You were going to say something, Bob? Was it Bob?
I don't think it was me.
Oh, was it you, Chris?
Not deliberately, but...
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought I heard something. Okay.
No, that's okay. It's and look, the interesting thing about the calls today is that pretty much all of them were from folks who've been following us from the beginning, and Mark's never spoken up before. Well, he's fixed that now. Okay, yeah. So that's done. But what is really inspiring is the degree to which they all get it in their own way and in the context of their own lives. They really get what's going on here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Don, for calling in.
Yep. Thanks, Don.
Thanks, Lisa.
Yep. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Okay, last one with their hand up, as it turns out. Area code 406.
Hello from Montana.
Hello from Montana. What's your name, darling?
This is Whitney and Patrick and Katie Seeger. Well, Katie's inside.
Oh, my God. I'm so glad you called in. I am so glad you called in. I heard you call in on the transitioning show and tell the story of how the three of you got together.
Oh, my.
And
what an amazing unfolding of events.
That's part of that. Listening to that is part of what triggered the conversation that I had with Bob, which triggered the conversation today. And please tell it, because I know there are a lot of people listening today who wouldn't have heard it.
This is beautiful. It's beautiful because of all of our commitments to OPPT and everything that we have done. I met the man I'm madly in love with. He says, "Oh boy." And he said if we call in, he's sitting here, but he won't talk.
Say hi to him for us.
Katie Seeger, who is ambiflex, is now residing in my house right here in Montana from Vine Nuys, California. She went out on a huge limb and decided to be around people that she connects with, and has ended up in Montana. And poor Katie, we have stretched her to the limits here. We've taken her rafting, floating. We hiked for 9 hours in the search of Bigfoot.
Oh, how did that go? I remember you talking to Thomas about that.
It was good. We never found the circle, but we walked literally for 9 hours on Sunday. It was amazing.
We haven't seen Katie.
Yeah, well, we got Katie massage today.
So the three of you all met. I just want to clarify something. I just wanted to clarify some things. The three of you met basically in the chat rooms of these shows, right?
Correct. I did not know anything about Katie and Patrick. In fact, I thought Katie and Patrick to begin with were a couple. And I just happened. Now this is just divine timing. I happened to be on a chat room talk where we were talking, and Patrick lost the house he was living in because we were going to move family into where he's renting. And at that moment, I said, "Well, why don't you land here in Montana?" And they both took just a big, huge dive. You know, when you've got one hand on a trapeze, swinging, and you let go, and you know inside yourself that the trapeze is on the other side, that you can get the other handle, but these guys took a major leap and trusted me. Patrick wants to talk. Hold on. And now we're end up in here in Montana. We've had amazing experiences over the last 3 weeks, just absolutely amazing. But what was amazing is that we came together and we coordinated just like we knew each other the entire lifetime.
Yep.
There was nothing that we went through some hard times with the guy that rents the house that I live in. You know, he told me I should be in an insane asylum.
For taking in these two strangers that you met on Facebook?
Well, no, the person that owns the house I rent from.
Okay.
Basically tried to kick us out for our beliefs a couple weeks ago. But we just stood true, and I don't know what he's doing now, but, you know, I mean, it doesn't matter what that 3D paradigm says, because we all know in our hearts what's going on, and we're excited about it, and we want to get more excited, and we're just done with all the negativity and the bullshit that people are, bleep.
That's not allowed on the show. Yeah.
Oh, not allowed at all.
Oh, no. So what happened when you and Patrick met then? What happened when you were... Can I get your story first before Patrick tells me, because I'm going to ask him the same thing. What did you feel when you met Patrick?
Honestly, I thought he was not... he actually drove all the way over here from Idaho to tell me that he wasn't interested in moving in here. And then didn't leave for 2 weeks.
He could have done that with a phone call. Yeah.
And then only left to get his stuff from Idaho, which we joined him. Katie joined around July 4th from California. And we got her detox from the city for a couple days, and then brought her over to Montana. And it's been amazing. I have so appreciated getting to know Katie.
Patrick, not so much.
Patrick, she says not so much, but that's just whatever speaking.
I'm joking.
So, in my opinion, I did not know, because I've been busy with my OPPT work and light work, that I did not really expect the universe to give me exactly what I wanted so soon.
Uh-huh.
And he came here, and we hung out for a couple days, and I just was assuming that he was himself, until he kind of hit me upside the head and told me that he felt differently, and then I realized that we're a complete perfect fit. Down to, like, weird things like passwords on our computers. I mean, weird stuff. Like, the correlations are amazing, and they happen every single day, and then I forget them, and then I beat myself up for forgetting them, but I figure there's more coming. So
I'm sure there will be.
He got up and went in the house.
Okay.
So we're here in Montana. We have been completely appreciating these last couple weeks of not knowing exactly what's going on, and being prepared for whatever it is, and being prepared with bankers, and, you know, living in this not knowing together. So I first connected with Brian Kelly. And Brian, if he's on the call.
He was, but he had to jump.
Yeah, I felt like when I met everybody, Lisa, even you, I feel like I can talk to you like a sister. And we've never met, but I really plan to have this huge party with all of us here.
I'll be there.
Because we connect and on a level that is amazing, and it's shown itself through months of time now, how we've progressed forward with everything and all these learning experiences that have taken us to where we're at right now, which is in complete, total appreciation for everything that all of us are. And I'm so jealous I'm not a radio host, but, you know, I've been floating the river. and other things.
You actually sound like you've got that giggle thing going on that we had in Morocco that night. You've got that heightened sense of everything. It's in your voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting that too. Actually, I think that's this is a soul family reunion we're seeing here.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
it's amazing.
Do you still want to say something?
No, really not. Patrick might want to say something, but he's shy.
Okay.
Come on, Patrick.
Well, thanks for that. I'm not really that shy.
Hi, Patrick.
Hello,
how are you doing,
Lisa.
Patrick?
I'm doing great, Chris. Great to hear from you. My situation's a little weird. I lived on 18 acres out in the middle of the forest in Idaho and had chickens and horses and everything like that. And it was paradise. However, I lived in a home that the people that I lived with were all very old paradigm. And everything was law and order and this is how it goes. And for me, I was literally living in paradise and realized, gosh, I either need to bring people to where I live, or I need to go where they are. And it was one of those things where Katie or Ambiflex had she'd want to get out of LA, and I came from Dana Point originally, and had surfed all my life and been near the beach and moved to the forest. And I absolutely loved it. I loved being in nature, but it was one of those things that I actually realized, it's far more important for me to be near people that I really, really resonate with than to live in paradise alone. And so I kind of looked at that and made the jump. And it's been wonderful ever since. It's been great.
Well, I'm very happy for all three of you.
Harkens back straight to the start of the conversation 2 hours ago or more, where we were talking about, the degree to which people accept or not the need for change around them in every way. And you've jumped pretty much straight into it by the same. Was there any hesitation on your part? Or did you just really, once you got there, you found this is actually what I was looking for? I mean, if you came with an intent to say, I'm not staying, and then stayed for 2 weeks, something happened.
Yes, I met Whitney.
There you go.
So, yes, that happened. And it wasn't, it wasn't just this. It was partly, there was a serious attraction, but at the same time there was like unknowingness, like you've known somebody for a long time, and to be able to talk to her and understand that I'm not crazy. And because I had been out in the forest for 6 months, doing all the OPPT stuff all by myself, and I really had nobody to communicate with. I was pretty far out in the forest. And it just felt like, wow, there's somebody that I really resonate with, and kindred spirits, I guess you'd call it. Kindred spirits is just, I decided that once and for all, I don't want to do this alone. I want to do it with everybody else. And so here I am in Montana.
And here you are on the show.
Yeah.
So welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, very much so. And thank you guys for calling in, both of you. And say hi to Ambi for us, to Katie.
Hello, Katie. Katie's been awesome.
Say hi to her from the crew.
Yeah, she has stretched her limits on every single point, and always exceedingly gracious. And she doesn't know how to swim. We got her on the river twice last week and today, and she just loves it. She already bought her own tube, so she has her own flotation device. But Yes.
Growing
we're
and
having a
expanding,
great
huh?
time. I'm sorry?
Growing and expanding.
Exactly.
It's happening.
And every single moment has been an amazing moment for love. I had my 40th birthday last Saturday, not this last weekend, but the weekend before. And
Happy birthday.
Everybody here gave me a gift. They banded together, and they actually decided to give me a gift of love.
And how did that express itself?
How can you ever have anything better than that from your friends?
It doesn't get any better than that.
No, it doesn't.
So what we decided to do was this, is a couple times a month we all get together and we have a spiritual group here, or a group that wants to evolve. They've kind of let loose of the third dimension, and, we all have to hang on to that, or not hang on to it, but be in it and reside in it, in the matrix, so to speak. And at the same time, we're all just going to, every 2 weeks we get together, we put a name in the hat. Everybody writes their name in the hat with a silver pen or a gold pen. And then the person that picks the name, all they do is generate love towards that person for the next 2 weeks. That's it. Just everything in their life gets better and better and better. And then at the end of the 2 weeks, we get together and we tell stories about what happened in our life, and then we get to figure out who picked my name. So it's kind of a fun little game where, we get to manifest for everybody else. And I don't know if anybody on the call can relate to that, but, there gets to be a time where you just decide, I don't want to just be in the matrix working to pay my rent and live and do everything for myself. I just want to be serving others. And so this was a kind of a neat little game to get together and just put a name in the hat, pick it, and for 2 weeks generate love towards that person and see what happens.
That's awesome. I love it.
That just epitomizes service. It really does. What a great idea. And look, and obviously it needs to get out there, because here you are on the show talking about it.
That's a great idea. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It is so simple.
Okay, guys. All your names.
All
about
Adrian. Oh my God! Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Fantastic. So, do we get to guess who got our name?
It'll all wash out, and I'm sure we're going to become clairsentient enough to understand what came from where. But it really doesn't matter, does it? It's just the love that's going around is amazing, and it's going to change this world that we live in, because I don't live in this paradigm anymore. Enough for someone to tell me that I need to go to a psychiatric institution.
Actually, I'd kind of take that as a compliment.
Absolutely.
I do.
That's what I did too. Yeah.
Yep.
Like, thank you.
I mean, what's that saying? The definition of insanity is being well adjusted to an insane world, or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
that's scary.
Who needs it? All right, guys, I've got a helicopter overhead now. There seems to have been some kind of an emergency, so that's going to get noisy here. So thank you for calling in. We're going to close the show out with a poem from Jerry, and much love, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Awesome. Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks for calling.
You want to say your goodbyes, Chris, and we'll let Jerry take the show out.
Sure. Jerry, welcome. How are you today?
I'm very wonderful, thank you. Even more wonderful than usual, listening to all the love flowing tonight.
Oh, it's been an amazing show.
Hasn't it?
And you no doubt have an outstanding poem from Jones.
Yeah, I actually just dug up one that I thought actually is extremely appropriate. Although I also remembered I wrote one last night, but we'll save that for another time. So
okay.
I've got
Jerry,
one.
Jerry, just before we go, what we're going to do, we're going to end the show with you. So we'll be going straight to the fade-out music. So thank you for your poem.
Yes.
Before the poem this time.
Well,
thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And everybody that's on the call, wow.
Yeah.
It's been amazing. It's been amazing. So we'll see you next time.
Okay, it's just gotten quiet enough for me to jump in and say goodbye. So,
good eye.
Heartfelt, absolutely heartfelt. Thank you to everybody tonight. What an experience. Thank you. And Jerry, awesome. Thank you for taking us out with one of your poems.
All right, here we go. It's called Kindness. Yeah. Kindness. I have wonderful thoughts within my mind, and I know that we must never be unkind to anything or anyone that exists under this sun. Love your neighbors, love your friends. Unconditional love knows no ends. Keep compassion in your heart. Now is the time for this to start. The human race is driven by love. It comes from the earth and from above. Harmony is strength. It gives us balance. And love truly is your sacred allowance. Feel the love from within and without. Feel it freely, and you might start to grin. Give this love and feel it return, and then for nothing will you ever yearn. Peace and love to all.